are the brothers. These are the gods in the Greek mythology or Greeks. And some of we, Ekikrit, are you there?
Yes, sir. I just joined my
Okay.
laptop is not working properly.
Yes, this is common problem. This is common issue. Even not problem. Problem we can solve it easily, but issue remains always always challenging to us. So that has become the issue. Technology has become trouble, tension, torture. So many T's thereafter technology. Yes. So let me share the screen if it works. If not, we'll manage it again. I still on the.
Sir, I can share it. Let me just join from laptop.
Yeah, I have joined now from laptop. If it works
Okay.
fine. If not, I'll just uh, ask ask for your assistance. Okay. Who was absent yesterday? Is there anyone who remained absent yesterday and just joined class after 1 or 2 days? Is there anyone? Okay. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
This is what we discussed in previous class yesterday, and we are going to discuss on on two things. First, the remaining part of this interaction, this discussion. Later, if we have time, we'll discuss briefly and thoroughly about the essay as well. The first paragraph that deals on the second and chronologically, whatever the brief analysis on that topic. This is what we discussed. And let me again remind you, we have been discussing here the duality, the dichotomy or duality between Apollonianism and Dionysianism. These are the two theories or two philosophies. They have been originated with the Greek deities or Greek gods, Apollo and Dionysius. We have discussed this, and Nietzsche, in the first paragraph of the essay, he says he has taken this, borrowed these two adjectives from Greek, from Greeks or Greek mythology or Greek history or Greek culture. As we said, the two art sponsoring deities were Apollonius and Dionysius. And these two have facilitated, or these two have helped, or taking reference to these two deities, we have been discussing here the meaning of art creation, architect, or uh, architecture, and the value of art, what art does, what society, how society has been reflected. And we also discussed about the birth of tragedy, which Friedrich Nietzsche wrote in 1872. There he has discussed about how this tragedy begins, how tragedy begins, and he has discussed about so many references, so many writings of great writers, Homer, Aristotle, Socrates, and also he has discussed about some historian like Joachim, and one of the musician or the poet as well, Friedrich Holderlin. So just taking these references, he wants to make his essay, his attempt, or his exploration of these two dualities or two dichotomies of Greek mythology more clearer and more concrete. This is what we discussed. We also discussed about Apollonian beliefs. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Apollonian simply believed on uh, science, on the way we gain knowledge, reason, logic, as Apollonian is originated from, or that has been just that has been taken. The word itself has been taken with one of the Greek deity, the son of Zeus, and here they believe, or Apollonianists believe that the philosophers in ancient, they helped on finding or just understanding the nature, the cosmos in that way. But Nietzsche here believes is spirituality, some source of emotion that our reason, along with our logic, our creativity, there is something more. We should begin with the same. The next one also we discussed about what Nietzsche views, what Nietzsche's ideas about these two human sets, or two human mindsets, Apollonianism and sometimes Dionysianism. So how they have been inherited in the human mind, in the culture, in the society, in the human human values, and how to maintain that balance, because there is the conflict. Nietzsche said Apollonianism and Dionysianism as one of the philosophy. We discussed about what Apollo stands for and what Dionysius stands for. Just to read out this. And regarding Nietzsche's major premise of writing this, or of his ideology, is there is a fusion of Dionysian and Apollonian artistic impulses, and these create arts. They create balance, maintaining those tragedies, dramatic picture, and he has taken example of Socratic rationalism and other many writers in the Greek mythology. This is what we have already discussed. So next one, the Dionysian is directly opposed to Apollonian, because of the abilities, because of the virtues, because of the qualities. Apollonian mainly believes on individualistic aspect. On the other hand, Dionysian, which has the different virtues, different abilities or skills, has a relation with uh, group as a whole, or that we call not individuality, rather it has the common, it has the group. Rational thought related to Apollonianism, whereas emotion, intoxication, some sorts of ecstasy, that is related with Dionysianism. We discussed this as well. Further, we discussed Nietzsche's views, whatever he believed on this through this essay, or his basic philosophy. uh, these two opposing tendencies he has discussed in Greek tragedy, in the birth of tragedy. And also we discussed about Apollonian attributes and Dionysian characteristics or Dionysian attributes here, and their conception, and further how that has been reflected into dramatic exhibition or dramatic performance in the as an artistic creation, as an art, drama as the piece of literature, how that has been reflected. And his view is, Nietzsche views that taking reference of like uh, like imitation of nature. Imitation of nature is Aristotle's view. Aristotle was one of the Greek philosopher again, taking his citation or reference, imitation of nature. In literature, any writer should imitate the nature, and whatever is reflected into the nature, that should be reflected by any artist in their performance, in music, and so on. We discussed this. Further, he discussed about individual and mob, or individual and throng, or individual and group, with relating this to individual. Apollo relates with individual or individual freedom, individual choice, individual quality, whereas Dionysianism talks about throng or the mob, and there is more dominance of uh, Dionysianism or those qualities that relate to the Dionysianism if we come under this throng or the mob. He talks about the concept of dream and illusion. In the second paragraph, if you look at in the essay, he describes about dream and illusion, and he says he even connects them both with both dream and illusion with Apollonianism and Dionysianism respectively. Dream with Apollonianism and illusion with Dionysianism. So what are his views is, as long as dream concerns, as long as dream relates the real dream and the daydreaming, he talks about, this is also we have discussed, but let us again look at this. Daydreaming is a fantasy or imaginary, but it is the world of perfection or incompleteness. This daydreaming uh, is completeness, perfection, though it is fantasy. That is image, just that is not real. Unreal is perfection. Unreal is complete. On the other hand, real one is incomplete. The real dreaming, uh, we enter the fantasy world, which is also perfect world, but the world of reality is imperfect. Whatever the reality, whatever the suffering, whatever the situation of the society, of reality as a whole in human life, that is imperfect. Nietzsche's views here: Greek artists loved dream more than reality. They just use their logic, reason, dream, and that is more than reality. And they claimed that those Greek artists, Greek philosophers, artists in the ancient time, they claimed that in the dream world they could get the vision of the gods and goddesses to whom they worshipped. Uh, Suppose they were those who worshipped Apollonian, they visioned the Apollonian. Those who worshipped Dionysius, they visioned Dionysius and those qualities in their dreams as well. This is Greek belief or belief system in Greeks. Even God Apollo appeared in their dream. Those who worshipped him and inspired them to create art. You just they saw the Apollo in their dream, and those philosophers, those artists, and he just guided them. The god Apollo guided them to create an art, and including those qualities. If they believe on art, if they believe on Apollo, of course they will create the same art or containing all the virtues or all the qualities that inherit into Apollo. It is perhaps because the dream vision, that is called dream vision, they are oriented to Apollo or they are oriented to Dionysianism. Greek artists were able to create the picture of deities, those gods, maybe because of the inspiration of the deities in the dream. Whatever they dreamed, in their dream, whatever they had their inspiration by the gods or the deities, they just created the same dream, and they were able to create best art. This is through dreaming, through their logic, through their qualities, through those inherent qualities into the gods. They created this. Whatever Nietzsche's point here is, Greek philosophers created their best art. That's why dream is not real, but for the Greek artist, it was better and more realistic than the reality. Reality is though something different. Reality is they are hiding the reality, but with fantasy, with imaginary world, with images, with inspiration of the logic, with the reason, with the inspiration of the reason. That reason belongs uh, to Apollonian. Similarly, individual aspect that belongs to Apollonian, and with this they created just hiding the reality, but they just created better world fantasy though it was. He has discussed about in the third paragraph. If we look at third paragraph or second paragraph, he talks about illusion is the concept of human existence. In dream, we have so many illusions, and this illusion has become the day-to-day practice of human existence. We are people are in the illusion. His view is this is all illusion. Reality is something different. Nietzsche says human existence is an illusion, so it is like a dream, but in spite of being an illusion, our life is meaningful. Though there are illusions, but life is meaningful because of what Nietzsche calls the veil of Maya. In the third or fourth paragraph, fifth paragraph as well, he talks about this veil of Maya, and this veil of Maya is the is the Hinduism, or based on philosophy, based on Hinduism, that talks about materialistic world here. So if you go through this text, page number 49, you will find out some terminologies, the meaning. Here it writes, Maya refers to a Hindu term for the material world of the senses. The veil of Maya is the illusion, hiding the reality that lies beneath material surfaces. So what his belief is, uh, human life is illusion, and it gets meaning in its meaning, though it has got its meaning because of this veil of Maya. And if there had not been the veil of Maya, the human world would already have been perished, would already have been destroyed. There would be no existence of the world. So, taking reference of this Hinduism, Socrates was not Hindu; he was the Christian, and in Hinduism also he has taken this reference, the veil of Maya. And because of the Maya, it is possible that there is order, there is harmony, there is beauty, there is love, progress, everything. You have love, you love to your life, you love to your family, you have some some, let's say, reason, some logic behind fulfilling your duties, and all this is guided by the veil of Maya, he says. And these qualities are the Apollonian qualities. Which are the Apollonian qualities? We can question. Yeah, of course, these are, look at, if this is in the veil of Maya, then what is the difference in that Christianity? Look at the things, look at these qualities that remain almost same. But sometimes the veil of Maya is torn so that there is passion. Sometimes there is not order maintained because of passion, because of intoxication, because of madness, because of some desire for destruction, and which are Dionysian domination. If there is Dionysian domination in a human, in society, in culture, then these qualities or these attributes, passion, intoxication, madness, they prevail. They dominate the power of Apollonian or other qualities. So which are dominant in the society, that's important. Finally, Nietzsche talks about the probable emergence of Apollo and Dionysus, and he probable emergence. He talks about this, and he believes that before the Greek civilization, there was a human race called the race of barbarians. When Greek civilization just emerged, just developed, even before that there was the human race, but that was a barbarian, that was in uncivilized, that was all cruel and so on. He talks about this. Because of this veil of Maya, because of this harmony, because of this progress, order in the society, that has given uh, the civilization to the human beings, and that originated from, he believes, originated from Greek. The barbarians were very savage or wild, mainly in the sexual activities. He has discussed this in fifth, sixth, and seventh paragraph of the essay. In this reference is very important, mainly in the those barbarians, uncultured humans. They were involved in sexual activities, and their world was like a pot of witches, like a poisonous snakes. All disorder, chaos, confusion, immorality. This, on the one hand, there is morality in the society. On the other hand, there is immorality. In the same case, the same applies to the human as well, one individual as well. Some people more order are in more order, harmony, more in logical, in reasonable. But on the other hand, sometimes even in the same person this happens. But which quality is dominant? That's important. There was no any morality in sexuality. Even sexuality in that passion, that if that prevails, that is dominant in the society, then there is no morality. Where there is barbarian or savage, or there lacks the order and harmony. That's why he talks about this reference prehistoric or this Greek civilization as well. It was like the animal sex, as everyone would have sex with anyone he liked. This is just the kind of ego, a kind of ego in terms of Freud's theory. They are not cultured, they are not systematized, and this happens. They also worshipped the savage god called Satyr, half human and half goat, as the symbol of barbarism. They had also the god. Look at the existence of god. He talks about even before Greek civilization that started, there was the existence, but different nature. The god of the savage god, Satyr. Some of the people were fed up such savage barbarian world. They were fed up with that world, so they stopped to worship the satyr god. They went against it. They didn't like that culture, that society, that the belief of the god. What they did is they established another image of the god. This god is also an image. God has guided us. God has instructed us. Look, uh, which one, which image you follow, whether you follow Apollonian, whether you follow Dionysian, or whether you follow that savage barbarian god. So this is also an image he believes, like image of the god in Mount Olympus. He talks about in the seventh and eighth paragraph of the essay. This he talks about the history, how history began of those deities, uh, where uh, where they begin to worship the god of order. They just worshipped beauty, intellect, progress, and peace. As the people in savage barbarian era as well, they were fed up with those inhuman qualities, those outdated or those bad irrationality in the society. Then they sought alternative ways. That alternative ways means they sought out for order, peace, beautiful, harmonious society, uh, and also the god who that they created this image. And how can they progress, how can they stay in peace, and so on. So this god come to be known as god Apollo. Is the concept clear here? What we are, let me remind you again, repeat it again, means before the Greek civilization there was barbarian, and in that barbarian the humans were immoral. They were like animals, they were savage, they were barbarian. And with this barbarian stage of society, some of the people were fed up with this. Then they shut out new order. This just they created an image of God, which just believes on beauty, order, intellectuality, progress, peace, and so on, good qualities. And this god is known as the god Apollo. And from this origin, this is origin and this is the history. he gives the history or historical concept in the essay regarding the Apollo as well. But not only that much. On the other hand, the other people, or just those who were worshipping Satyr's god, the savage god, or barbarian, or that god called Satyr, the god also began to worship. Those people also began to worship the image of another god. Also, they began to worship the image of another god, in which Satyr-like negative qualities came together, and those negative qualities were inherent in the humans, or already they existed in the human. And from this illustration, we come to know a human may have both good and bad qualities, like those two different societies, or even in a single society, some of their views they created, they worshipped, they just dreamed, and so on. Uh, they they worshipped the god that represented disorder, that represented ugliness, passion, intoxication, destruction, violence, etc. And the god came to be known as the god of Dionysius. So these two represented by these two gods, two systems, two qualities, two attributes that have been studied in, represented in those gods. So for the Greek people, Apollo represented the highest god, while Dionysius represented the highest bad, highest good and highest bad. Even the existence of God, that they just understood, or they just created this image. So having all positive qualities in Apollo, and having all negative qualities in Dionysius, and having all these positive qualities, they found highness God in Apollo, but Dionysius, they found highest bad, having negative qualities. This is again their image, the creation of their image they viewed. For Nietzsche, the reconciliation between such good and bad is necessary. In every society, this exists. If you create any art, if you write on any piece of literature, you must consider both good and bad qualities of the society, because you are representing the nature. In nature, there is good, and in nature, there is bad as well. So it is Nietzsche who believes the reconciliation, there must be reconciliation between both good and bad, because it progresses, or it is mandatory for the progress of art, or for the creation of art. That also means if you just highlight good only, you just hide those bad qualities of the society, your art or your piece is not good at all, because creation of this naive art and naive culture, good art, perfect art, then there must be reconciliation between both good and bad qualities. And here he talks about the mythical characters. Mythical characters means Apollo and Dionysius in his point of view. As we have already discussed this, of the birth of tragedy, the book interprets certain aspects of music, and so it is not necessary. We have already introduced, but we must not forget who Nietzsche was. As we said, he was one of the most influential thinkers of 19th century Germany, and he has just written many and contributed more to the most, let's say, Western European mythology, and also Greek culture, Greek tradition, Greek aspects of society, human aspects of individuality and common. He has been much influenced by Wagner's music, but later slightly he has some different philosophical point of view as well. So in this essay, Apollonianism and Dionysianism, he compares and contrasts. Mainly this, don't forget to this word. Comparison is there, He celebrates that comparison, and also he compares and contrasts between Apollonian and Dionysian, between Greek civilization and before Greek civilization nature. He describes the nature of God. He describes the nature of humans. He describes the nature of art, the poets or the artists. What should artists do is they should imitate the nature according to Aristotle. So he talks about this. We discussed about Friedrich Nietzsche's birth and death as well. 19th century, with the fear that the world was changing and his attitudes towards religion and science, but also they would result in loss of sense of purpose in human life. That's why uh, it was Nietzsche's work, The Crucified, and that brought postmodern mind ahead in the 20th century. So he was such an influential thinker. He has brought this the initiation of postmodern mindset or postmodern thinking, the crusade, the crucified work of crucified. It was initiation. He was a classical scholar, a philosopher, and prominent writer. He was a brilliant classical student in his school and in his college life, and he was the son of minister. Looking at his family life, it was quite comfortable. He was in the comforts in his childhood, in his by birth he has been in such environment. uh, his own personal life was rather difficult. Why? There are so many things. He was the son of a minister, but his father died when he was just 4 years. And Nietzsche was raised by gathering of family women, those take carers, those who took care of him. Just there was anti-female tone in certain of his writings as well. He has been influenced by those his surroundings. That's we can see this in his writing as well. So this might be because of his upbringing. He was abroad. Because of the result of his upbringing in such family, not by not by a father, but by those in the family, by the take carers. So later, at the age of 24, he was appointed as a professor of classical philosophy at the University of Basel, and his life goes in that. So this is very briefly about Nietzsche. His personal life was also a difficult one because he was abroad by family women, and in some of the writings he has written with anti-female tone as well. We said, and also he had taken participation in a Franco-Persian war as well, and he died at the dawn of the 20th century in 1900. And he has written several works, and all of his works have been translated into English. He has written in French, in German, and so on. But they have been translated into English. The Birth of Tragedy, which he wrote in 1872, was his first work, and it was his critical. There he has critically studied or made comparison and contrast of present text. There is the critical viewpoint or critical comparison of this Apollonian and Dionysian values, how they were guided in Greek society or Greek culture. Next one is the Spake Zarathustra, another second important book. Thus, Zarathustra argues that the greater joy comes from self-understanding, self-domination, and self-control. This is important line that he writes in that book. It says that the resultant creativity springs from Superman, who can create and impose his own laws, your reason, your logic. And the Superman celebrated in his work, in this work, can achieve such a taste, such a state so overwhelming, such as to be godlike. Superman is like having qualities of godlike, having the qualities of Apollonian, and having those virtues, having those qualities in a man is known as Superman. he believes. For Nietzsche, it is necessary to attain this state to live. It is necessary for everyone to attain this state to live. And the thoughts of out of season, he talks about these virtues. He has a religious argument, the contemporary strong repudiation of religion, especially of Christian, and it is the central talk of this work in the joyful wisdom. He is another writing with the joyful wisdom, where he has discussed about the strong, the contemporary strong repudiation of religion, in especially in Christianity. All the democratic values, ideals have been despised. In other works, like called Beyond Good and Evil, he has discussed what is good and what is evil, or Beyond Good and Evil, he has discussed about democratic ideals and democratic values. Further, Nietzsche makes his characteristic attack on religion, arguing about the death of God. And he has discussed this death of God in the genealogy of morals. He has written another, in his another work, the genealogy of morals. He has discussed about, or he has attacked on the religion. He said the death of God. God is not there. This is only our image, only our creation. We have been the fraction of division into two. Some just we believed on this, some on the other. He writes a philosophy of life. Just he has affirmed that life affirming will to power. So he has influenced very much of the 20th century's postmodern thought. We have already discussed the thought of existentialism and the thought of psychoanalysis, from which Sigmund Freud and other existentialists were influenced by, or those great later 20th century writers, philosophers were also influenced by his ideology. He concerns much about changes in attitudes towards religion and science, because he thought, and he thought as well, he thought that these changes would result in the loss of a sense of purpose in human life. Religion and science, if you become much materialistic, there will be lost something in the life. If you become like blindly supporting the religion, again that will not be good. There will be some loss that he called the loss in the purpose of human life. So there would be a loss of energy, of direction, and ultimately of civilization itself as well. So his philosophy also is, Nietzsche's philosophy is, if we do just concentrate to the attitudes of religion and science, if there is class, if some of we become blindly supported to the religion and some blindly supporting to the science, of course there will be the loss in the human life or the purpose of human life. And you can see this is at the present. Some people just they have more orientation to the religion, some have more orientation to the science, and ultimately there may be the end of civilization as well, what he concerns. So regarding this critical analysis, Apollonianism and Dionysianism, in the following figure, the figure has perhaps missed here. Apollonianism and Dionysianism are compared and contrasted with their value system, which have been referred and explained in his text. And two psychological phenomena, dream and intoxication. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. What time is it left? Okay. Within 15 minutes, let us discuss some more about two psychological, physiological, just psychological, physiological aspects of dream and intoxication. What actually dream does, or what is reflected in the dream. Analyzing further, Apollonian and Dionysic values can be viewed as two art realms, the dream and intoxication. The dream is more important for an artist. If you dream, if you dream, you can just create an art because it is the dream that inspires him for literary creation. So, dream has a relation with Apollonian, and intoxication has relation with Dionysian. Those who have dream or who believes on dream in the earlier Apollo just came in writers' dreams and they guided them to write, them to create, do create something. They gave Apollo gave them this guidance. What Nietzsche believes here. That's why the dream is more important than for an artist, for writer, for composer, or for an artist, because it is the dream that inspires him to write, that inspires him for literary creation. And here Nietzsche refers to Roman philosopher Lucretius, who said that the marvelous images of gods and goddesses first came into the minds of men. He writes this in second paragraph of the essay. He says, art owes its continuous evolution uh, to the Apollonian and dynastic duality. Art revolves, art gets evolution. Just taking reference of this Roman philosopher Lucretius, he has said this. Lucretius said, uh, just a dream God, or the image of God and the goddesses first came into the minds of men through dream. In medieval time, Geoffrey Chaucer, this he wrote the legend of good women, just considering this aspect, because two goddesses inspired him in a dream to write something about good women. Some they wrote about good men, some they wrote about good women, and they have this orientation. Similarly, William Langland wrote the vision of fears of frogmen being inspired by gods. Before that as well, in ancient Greek culture, if we discuss ancient Greek culture, the dream was supposed to be the base of all kinds of artworks. Where there is a dream in artists, then they create the art. Dream as the base they have taken of all kinds of artworks, of all kinds of passions. If there is only passion, you don't have this coming to reality. If you have dream, uh, this is something different simply than intoxication. The Greek sculpture, he discusses these writers in his essay. The Greek sculpture Phidias beheld in a dream and just he entrancing bodies of more than human beings. The Greek poets would reply about the mystery of poetic creation. Just poetic creation means all those Greek poets, they created their art through dreams or by means of dreams. The legendary singer hero of Richard Wagner's opera is also that is also the relation, that has also the relation with Apollo or dream. The master singer Hans Sachs, he instructs that the poet interprets dreams. So these dreams come through the nature. If we discuss about Nietzsche's rhetoric here, we have two different approaches, two major approaches. Nietzsche's rhetoric has two major approaches. One is comparison and another is contrast. He compares and he contrasts. He defines both different polarities and he extends his essay with explanation, especially with survey of the past time, survey of Aristotle, survey of Roman philosophers and many other philosophers. He takes reference from the past time. Each essay concentrates in Greek society, Greek culture, Greek mythology, but it has some relation with other as well. Like it takes reference with Bcuz of Maya from Hindu philosophy as well. Though this essay is a criticism of ring cycle of Wagner, he has made references to many of other writers and composers of different times, like Homer, William Shakespeare, Schiller, Beethoven, Rousseau, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, uh, and some others are some of them. There are so many others. These are the references he has taken. That's why he has taken the survey of past time under the rhetorics. Don't forget comparison, contrast, Greek mythology, survey of the past time. His comparison and contrast is between Apollonian and Dionysian values of Greek and barbarian culture. He has discussed about Greek civilization, barbarian culture. He has also discussed about dream and illusion. What is illusion and what is dream? He has also discussed about Olympian gods and the Greek people. He has also discussed about individual and the group. He has also discussed about life and death as well in his essay or through his essay. Most of the part of the text has been dedicated to the parts of the topic like Apollonianism and Dionysianism, historical base, historical background of the Greek civilization. It talks about history, the history, the history, the culture, the society, the civilization. He has also described that in detail, and he talks about the Greek origin of writing, and that was guided by Apollonian and Dionysian cultures. He is also romantic when he sees some more realistic or reality, and his art has been delighted, just reflected with delight in the dream. Just he preferred to the day or the working reality. The talk of the classic importance is itself a very important, and it was intellectual as well. It was rather simply itself as the reflection of Apollonian art. Intellect is guided by Apollonian. When he illustrates some aspects of Dionysian nature, he himself becomes intoxicated. Not only others, not all others, he also himself become intoxicated. He gets this ecstasy. He is in ecstatic and poetic mood. Then that has helped him to create something. These two aspects of the passage are based on the feeling. On feeling. From poetry, one does not have necessarily understanding, but feeling or an impression. If you have some impression on the beauty, then you can create. In the passage of the Dionysian diversion, we are a bit thrown off. Just he points out that verbal artifacts can combine both the Apollonian and the Dionysian forces is very persuasive, and that can create the best art. He focuses on the significance of Greek tragedies, then unification with nature, combination of nature, referring to Aristotle's works, Imitation of Nature in his essay. His belief is remarkably critical when he says that the two forces must be unified in Apollonianism and Dionysianism. If they are looked at separately, there is no good art that an artist can create. And he looks at this diversity is everywhere. Diversity in nature, diversity in human beings, diversity in God. There is no unique, that's uniqueness. Diversity is uniqueness. But yet, diversity has one deep longing to be one with the one. There must be integration. And his philosophy is that the eternal goal of the original oneness. He discusses this in the third or the fourth paragraph of togetherness, oneness, not duality. This duality is everywhere. Good and bad is everywhere. But there should be the integration. This original oneness is its a redemption through illusion. And illusion is an art, not just a dream. And it is a dream, an illusion that are projections of mental states. These are the projections of human mental schema, which give access to the inner nature of humankind. In humankind as well, we have these two dichotomies, uh, two states of uh, good qualities and bad qualities. And all psychological theories of the 20th century are based on this philosophy. As we have already discussed, postmodern thought, which has been guided by Friedrich Nietzsche thought as well. So through this essay, Nietzsche has established a new trend in the study of art. So art image should be creation. What can you see on the next slide here? Yes, finally coming to the conclusion, the author, any writer, any literary figure should attempt to inherit the two basic psychological forces in humankind, or Apollonian intellectuality and Dionysian passion. Without Dionysian passion, there is not good literature, not good art that is created, but there should be the insight of clarification, or insight just should taken of both. These both forces were present in ancient Greek society, not only in ancient Greek society, everywhere. Though he has reflected on Greek society, that's that's he talks about ancient Greek society, for which Nietzsche had a high regard. He found this in ancient Greek society both. He regards Greek civilization, and especially he has appreciated it for its Doric phase, for clear, calm, and beautiful works. Through this continuous integration, there has been clear, calm, and beautiful works that have been created. He views this the Apollonian values as opposed to the Dionysian value, but still he argues that the Greek discovered both forces present. They are present together in a culture, in any culture, any society. The Greek tragedy is the best example in which both these qualities, these values have worked together. They have been coexisted. They have the coexistence there in the society. In his own time as well, he believes that the Apollonian and the Dionysian values meet in the music of Richard Wagner. Richard Wagner was the very famous and popular uh, musician in that time. And taking reference of Richard Wagner, he found these two qualities inherited in his music as well. His belief has been profound in the birth of tragedy, and his psychological types have been just represented by the Greek gods Apollo and Dionysus, and same qualities have been reflected in the seen in the society, in the humans, everywhere, in every culture. Apollo stands for intellectuality. He is the god of the individualist principle of individualistic, individuasis. You will find that word in the essay. He demands clarity, he demands order, reason, calm, and oneness. He has been visualized with dream. So dream is the part of intellectuality. Dream is the part of individualization. Dream is the part of Apollonianism. On the other hand, quite differently, Dionysius has been visualized with intoxication, passion. It stands for ecstasy and passion. And Dionysian inspires obscurity, disorder, immorality, irrationality, or irrational behavior, and hysteria is also the part sexual. Um, uh, this each and every aspect that has some negative connotation, that is the part that has the relation reference with the Dionysius. So he is known as the god of throngs and mobs. So the crowds, the mobs, there no reason applies, no logic applies, no morality is there. So this is represented by Dionysius. However, when both reconciled and meet at a point in a work of art, it becomes a natural art, because it has good qualities, it has bad qualities, it has both aspects. The Dionysiac and the Apollonian elements, if they are integrated in a continuous chain of creations, each enhancing the other, each just flourishing, each helping the other, then there is the dominate, or have dominated the Hellenic mind. And this Hellenic mind is considering both and coming to understanding the qualities as well. So this is his conclusion. Is Apollonian opposed to Dionysian? Yes, regarding the qualities, they have different qualities, but they should be look in some differences. They are somehow different. This is what he views. So this is all about this. And I just suggest you to go through the text. I will upload this, adding some more into these screens. I will upload this into your LMS. Please go through this and the essay and prepare for these all essays from section 1 and one story from section 2 for your term as well as your exam. Are there any questions? Not tomorrow, but simply like what is the difference between Apollonianism and Dionysianism? What are the values? अब यसमा थोरै मैले के भन्छु भनेपछि यो एउटा फेड्रिक नित्सेले उति बेलाको समाजलाई त्यो दुईटा डेटिज गडहरूलाई एपोलोनियनिजम र डाइनोसियनिजमलाई रिफरेन्सको रूपमा लिएर अध्ययन गरेको छ। त्यो समाजमा भेटियो, त्यो मान्छेको मनमा हुन्छ, यो क्वालिटिजहरूलाई कसरी हुन्छ र यसले विशेष गरेर लिट्रेचरसँग, आर्टसँग, आर्टिस्टिक क्रिएसनसँग जोड्न खोजेको हो। आर्ट क्रिएट गर्दाखेरि nature, just he has taken so many other forms like Aristotle's imitation of nature भनेर उनले भन्न खोजेको छ। त्यसमा any artist should imitate the nature. Without imitating the nature, the art becomes incomplete. The art is not good in itself भनेर भनेको छ। त्यो भन्नुको अर्थ के हो भनेपछि looking at the surrounding, the nature, human nature, it may be the nature's nature, it may be the God's nature, it may be the societies and the civilization's nature. They should create this. Otherwise, if we just say, if you just write on Nepalese culture, then if you just look at only good qualities, if you inherit good qualities in your writing, that's not good. There are some mistakes. So there are some negativities at any point, at any contemporary society there are, and we must inherit, then it becomes clear भनेर भन्न खोजेको हो यसमा. So we have discussed, but due to lack of time, I would go in another part as well, very paragraphical interpretation or based on those particular paragraphs, whatever it comes. But let me just stop it, sharing this here. We have 5-6 minutes more as well. So I stopped this sharing here. I will upload this into the LMS. Please do download this and go through this consultation. These are only the reference materials. I have so many I've taken from the books, so many from other resources, so many I have just added them into this. Just you can go through this yourself. Now the battery is also running low. So thank you. So everyone, thank you very much.